The transport ship carrying humanity's first diplomatic team broke through the atmosphere of Nexus Prime. Ambassador G1 stood at the observation window, watching the alien city grow larger below. It was massive, stretching across an entire continent with towers that pierced the clouds. She had dreamed of this moment for 5 years, ever since Earth discovered it was not alone in the universe. Beside her stood Hyun Soo, a military advisor with 20 years of service. He checked his uniform for the 3rd time, making sure everything was perfect. Nari, the team's lead scientist, reviewed her presentation files on a data pad. The young cultural attaché, Tae-min, practiced his greeting in 3 different alien languages. They were ready. Earth was ready. The landing pad was enormous, bigger than 10 football fields. As their ship touched down, G1 saw them waiting. Dozens of alien beings stood in organized rows. Some walked on 2 legs like humans, others floated. Some had scales, others had fur, and a few seemed to be made of pure light. This was the Galactic Council, the government that had ruled known space for over 12,000 years. A tall reptilian creature stepped forward. Its scales were deep purple, and its eyes were cold yellow slits. This was Chairman Vortex of the Vrex species. Behind him stood representatives of 46 other species. They did not smile. They did not bow. They simply stared. G1 walked down the ramp with her team. She had practiced this moment 100 times. She bowed respectfully, not too deep, not too shallow. Chairman Vortex, honored members of the Council. On behalf of humanity and the planet Earth, I bring greetings and hopes for peaceful cooperation. Vortex made a sound that the translator turned into laughter. Humans, the newest children to discover fire and think themselves clever. Several other aliens made similar sounds. G1 felt her face grow hot, but maintained her smile. The next 3 days were difficult. The Council gave humanity a small room in a building far from the main chambers. When G1 requested to speak before the full Council, she was told to wait. Araf. 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 When Nari tried to share Earth's scientific achievements, the alien scientists barely looked at her data. When Tae-min attempted to discuss cultural exchange, he was ignored completely. On the 4th day, they were finally allowed into the council chambers. The room was vast, with seats rising in circles around a central platform. G1 stood on that platform, feeling very small. Thousands of alien eyes watched her. She spoke clearly and with confidence. She told them about Earth, about humanity's journey from caves to spacecraft. She showed them human art, music, and literature. She presented Earth's technology, including their new fusion reactors and faster-than-light engines. She explained that humanity wished to learn, to trade, and to be part of the galactic community. When she finished, there was silence. Then Vortex spoke. Provisional observer status. You may watch council proceedings but not participate. You may not vote. You may not propose treaties. Perhaps in a few thousand years, if your species survives, we will reconsider. G1 felt anger rise in her chest but pushed it down. Thank you, Chairman. We accept this offer and hope to prove ourselves worthy of full membership. More alien laughter filled the chamber. A insectoid creature with multiple arms clicked its mandibles. Prove yourselves? Your technology is primitive. Your ships are slow. Your weapons are laughable. You have nothing we need, little human. Hyun Soo stepped forward, unable to stay quiet. We may be new to space, but humanity has much to offer. Our industrial capacity, our problem-solving abilities. Silence. Vortex's voice echoed through the chamber. You do not speak unless given permission, military creature. He turned back to G1. Your species has an interesting quality. You grow too fast. You adapt too quickly. This troubles the Council. G1 felt a chill run down her spine. Surely adaptation is a positive trait? For some species, yes. For others, it makes them dangerous. Vortex looked at the other council members. Many nodded in agreement. We have been watching Earth for the past 10 years. We have seen your wars, your conflicts, your aggressive expansion. We have seen how quickly you went from splitting atoms to crossing star systems. Too fast, too aggressive, too dangerous. We came here in peace, G1 said, her voice steady despite her growing fear. We want friendship, not conflict. Peace? A floating luminae, made of shifting light, spoke in a voice like wind chimes. Humans do not understand peace. You are a young species, violent and unpredictable. The Council has decided that for the safety of all civilized worlds, humanity must be contained. Contained? Taman asked, confused. Vortex smiled, showing rows of sharp teeth. It means, young human, that you and your companions will not be returning to Earth. It means that even as we speak, a cleansing fleet departs for your system. Your species will be eliminated before you can threaten the galaxy's stability. The room erupted into chaos. Hyun-Soo rushed forward, but was stopped by energy barriers. Nari grabbed Ji-won's arm. Taemin stood frozen in shock. Ji-won felt the world spin around her. This was not a negotiation. It was an execution. Security drones surrounded the humans. Ji-won looked directly at the communication device on her wrist. Knowing it was transmitting everything back to Earth, she spoke clearly, wanting Earth to hear her final words. The energy weapons fired. The transmission continued for exactly 3 more seconds, then went dark. On Earth, billions of humans watched their ambassador and her team die. The diplomatic mission had ended. The war had begun. Chairman Vortex turned to his fellow council members. Send the message to all human colonies. They have 47 days to surrender or face the same fate. He walked out of the chamber, confident that this minor problem had been solved. The council had eliminated dangerous species before. Humans would be just another footnote in their long history. But Vortex had made a mistake. He had given humanity something more dangerous than weapons or technology. He had given them time. And he had given them rage. The broadcast reached Earth at exactly 3:47 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Every screen on the planet showed the same image. Ambassador G1 and her team being executed in cold blood, while alien beings watched and did nothing. Then the message came from Chairman Vortex, delivered in perfect human languages. Humanity has been judged incompatible with galactic civilization. A fleet approaches your world. You have 47 days. Surrender or die. President Young Jae sat in the emergency command center beneath Geneva. Around him were the leaders of every nation, every colony, every human settlement in space. They had all watched the execution. Many were crying. Others sat in stunned silence. Some were already shouting for revenge. Young Jae stood slowly. He was 63 years old, a career diplomat who had never wanted to be a wartime president. But as he looked at the faces around him, he knew there was no choice. They have declared war on our entire species. They have given us 47 days before their fleet arrives. We will use every single second. Admiral Song-ho entered the room, his face like stone. He was the commander of Earth's entire defense fleet, a man who had spent 40 years preparing for threats from space. But even he had never imagined this scenario. Mr. President, our intelligence suggests the Council is sending approximately 10,000 warships. We currently have 2,100 combat-capable vessels. The odds are not good. Then we make better odds, Young Jae said firmly. Admiral, you are now Supreme Military Commander. You have complete authority over all Earth forces, all colonial forces, and all military production. Whatever you need, you will have. Defense Minister Do-hyun stepped forward. She was a small woman with iron-gray hair and eyes that had seen too many battles. Mr. President, with your permission, I recommend we activate Protocol Omega. The room went silent. Protocol Omega was Earth's deepest secret, a program so classified that only 12 people knew it existed. Young Jae nodded slowly. Explain it to the council. Du Hyun pressed a button, and holographic displays filled the room. For the past 15 years, since we first detected alien signals, we have been preparing for the worst-case scenario. Protocol Omega is that preparation. We have hidden shipyards in the asteroid belt, producing vessels the Galactic Council has never seen. We have weapons research facilities on Europa, Titan, and 12 other moons. We have been building, testing, and perfecting technology specifically designed to fight enemies more advanced than us. A hologram showed sleek warships emerging from hidden construction bays. Another showed massive weapons, platforms built into asteroids. A third displayed experimental fighters that could jump short distances through space. Intelligence Director Soo-jin continued the briefing. My department has been monitoring Council communications for 8 years. We've broken most of their encryption. We know their fleet compositions, their tactics, their standard procedures. We also know something they don't realize we know. Quote, "What's that?" asked the Chinese premier. "They're terrified of us," Soo-jin said with a cold smile. "We found classified council reports. They've been watching humanity for decades. They've seen how fast we develop technology. They've seen how we fight. Their greatest fear is that if they wait another 50 years, we'll be stronger than them. That's why they're attacking now, while they think we're weak." Young Jae looked at Admiral Sang-ho. "Can we win?" The Admiral was quiet for a long moment. "Not without losses. Heavy losses. But yes, Mr. President, I believe we can make them bleed, and if we can hurt them badly enough, maybe they'll think twice about exterminating species in the future." "That's not enough," said a voice from the back. Everyone turned to see Engineer Hae-rin, the head of Earth's Advanced Weapons Division. She was only 32 years old, but had revolutionized human technology in the past decade. "We can't just survive. We can't just hurt them. We need to win so completely that no one in the galaxy ever thinks about attacking humanity again." She walked to the holographic display and pulled up new schematics. "These are quantum torpedoes. They phase through shields before exploding. These are gravity mines that can disable entire fleets. These are AI-assisted targeting systems that make every human ship fight like 10 enemy ships. And this," she pulled up a final image, "is a jump drive that will let our vessels appear anywhere on a battlefield in seconds." "How long until these are ready?" Sang-ho asked. "They're already installed in 60% of our fleet," Hae-rin said. "The Council thinks they're hunting primitives with crude weapons. They have no idea what's waiting for them." Young Jae stood and faced the cameras that would broadcast his next words to every human in existence. "People of Earth, people of Mars, people of our colonies across the solar system and beyond. Today we witnessed the murder of our ambassador and her team. Today, we were told that our species will be exterminated. Today, the Galactic Council made the worst mistake in their 12,000-year history." His voice grew stronger. "They think we are weak because we are young. They think we will beg for mercy. They think we will scatter and hide. They do not understand humanity. They do not know our history. Every time our species has been pushed to the edge of extinction, we have fought back with everything we have. Every time someone has told us we cannot survive, we have proven them wrong." He slammed his fist on the table. "They wanted to eliminate us quietly, diplomatically, before we could become a threat. Instead, they have united every human being under one cause. They have given us a common enemy. They have awakened something they cannot comprehend." 2. Young Jae looked directly into the camera. "To the Galactic Council, if you are watching this, know that you made a choice today. You chose war. You chose to threaten our families, our children, our entire species. We did not want this. We came to you in peace. But since you have decided humanity must fight for its survival, we will show you what humans are truly capable of." He turned to Admiral Sang-ho. Make them regret they ever learned our name. Over the next 47 days, Earth transformed into a fortress. Every factory was retooled for war production. Every civilian with engineering skills was recruited. Ships that were still on drawing boards were rushed into construction. Weapons that were theoretical became reality. The asteroid belt became a maze of hidden weapons platforms and automated defense systems. Mars was covered in missile batteries. Luna was turned into a massive military base. Earth's orbital stations were armed to the teeth. But Admiral Sang-ho had one more trick planned. He called together his top officers and showed them a map of human-controlled space. The Council expects us to wait here and defend Earth. They expect us to be passive. They're wrong. We're going to hit them first, hit them hard, and teach them that humanity doesn't wait to be slaughtered. Commander Yuna, one of Sang-ho's best tactical officers, studied the map. The colony at New Jeju. It's on their approach route. Sang-ho smiled grimly. Exactly. We evacuate the colonists and turn that entire system into a trap. When their advance forces arrive expecting easy prey, we'll show them what human warfare really looks like. 23 days had passed since the execution. The Galactic Council's fleet was moving through space toward Earth, confident and unopposed. But 800 of their fastest ships had pulled ahead, forming an advanced scout force. These vessels were tasked with eliminating any human colonies along the route and clearing the path for the main fleet. Admiral Krixal commanded this advance force. He was Vrex, like Chairman Vortex, and he viewed this mission as a chance for easy glory. Humans were primitives. Their colonies would fall quickly. He would return to Nexus Prime a hero, having softened the target before the real fleet arrived. His sensors detected the human colony on New Jeju. It was a farming world, home to 4 million colonists, perfect for his first victory. All ships, proceed to the colony. Show no mercy. This is an extermination mission. What Krixal did not know was that New Jeju had been evacuated 3 weeks earlier. Every single colonist was gone. The buildings were empty. The farms were abandoned. But the colony was far from defenseless. Commander Yuna watched from her stealth ship at the edge of the system. She was 35 years old, a career military officer who had never actually fought in a real war. None of them had. Humanity had been at peace for decades, but she had studied warfare her entire life, and now she would put that knowledge to the test. Tactical Officer Jin Woo, report, she said quietly. Jin Woo was manning the sensor station. He was young, only 24, but brilliant at understanding enemy movements. 800 enemy ships entering the system. They're spreading out, probably to search for our defense platforms. They think we're weak. Good. Let them think that. Yuna activated her communication link to Admiral Sang-ho, who was commanding the overall operation from a hidden command ship. Admiral, they've taken the bait. Sang-ho's voice came back calm and steady. Wait for my signal. Let them get comfortable. The Council ships moved deeper into the system. They found the empty colony and some old defense platforms that looked abandoned. Krixal laughed. These humans fled without even fighting. This will be easier than expected. All ships, destroy the remaining structures. Leave nothing standing. His ships opened fire on the colony, turning buildings into rubble. They hunted for the few defense platforms, destroying them easily. Krixal felt satisfaction. The humans were cowards after all. That was when Admiral Sang-ho gave the order. Spring the trap. All units, weapons free. The empty space around the Council ships suddenly came alive. Hundreds of human frigates decloaked, their stealth systems disengaging all at once. The abandoned colony lit up with hidden weapons, batteries emerging from underground bunkers. Asteroids that Krixal had ignored revealed themselves to be disguised weapons platforms, but the real surprise came from the mines. Engineer Hayrin had designed gravity mines specifically for this battle. They were invisible to Council sensors and had been floating throughout the system for weeks. When they activated, they created gravity fields that disrupted shield systems and threw ships off course. "What is happening?" Crixall shouted as his shields failed. All around him, Council ships were being pulled out of formation by the gravity mines. Commander Yuna gave her orders with ice-cold precision. Attack groups 1 through 5 focus on their command ships. Groups 6 through 10 cut off their escape routes. All fighters, swarm tactics. Don't give them time to reorganize. Human attack craft swarmed the Council vessels like angry insects. They were small and fast. Much faster than the large Council warships. They darted in, fired their weapons, and jumped away before return fire could hit them. Each human ship was linked to an AI tactical network that coordinated their movements perfectly. They fought as one organism, always hitting the enemy's weak points. Jin Wu was tracking the battle from his sensor station. "Enemy flagship is trying to escape. They're heading for the system's edge." "Not today," Yuna said. She directed 3 squadrons to intercept. The human ships appeared directly in front of Crixall's vessel, blocking his path. They opened fire with the new quantum torpedoes that Hayrin had developed. The torpedoes phased through Crixall's shields as if they weren't there, then exploded inside his ship's hull. Systems failed. The engines went dark. His vessel began drifting. Helpless, the battle raged for 4 hours. Council ships tried to fight back, but they were confused and disorganized. Their tactics were designed for fighting enemies who followed the same rules they did. Humanity didn't follow any rules. Human ships jumped around the battlefield using their experimental drives. Human fighters rammed damaged Council vessels. Human captains made desperate, aggressive moves that no Council commander would ever consider. On one human destroyer, Captain Minha was living up to her reputation as a reckless fighter. She had been Nari's sister, the scientist who died with Ambassador G1. Minha had designed the plasma torpedoes being used in this battle, and now she was using them personally. "Forward shields are down. Engine at 60%. And I don't care. Target that Council cruiser and fire everything." Her ship shook as it took hits, but she kept moving forward. Her plasma torpedoes struck the Council cruiser, burning through its armor. The enemy ship exploded in a ball of fire. Minha allowed herself a grim smile. "That's for my sister." All across the battlefield, humans were fighting with a fury that shocked the Council forces. This wasn't the behavior of a weak, primitive species. This was the behavior of a cornered predator fighting for survival. When the battle finally ended, the results were clear. 743 Council ships destroyed. 57 human ships lost. Admiral Crixall's flagship was captured intact, along with a dozen other vessels. The rest of the Council force had been completely eliminated. Admiral Sang Ho immediately ordered the battle footage to be broadcast to every known world in the galaxy. The message that accompanied it was simple and direct. "You came to exterminate us. You thought we were weak. You were wrong. This is what happens when you threaten humanity. We will show you what extinction truly means. Ask, and ask, and we will show you what extinction truly means." On Nexus Prime, Chairman Vortex watched the footage with growing horror. This was impossible. Humans were primitives. They should have been easily defeated. How had they destroyed an entire Council battle group? His advisors were panicking. "Chairman, perhaps we should negotiate. Perhaps we should recall the fleet." "No." Vortex slammed his clawed hand on his desk. "This changes nothing. The main fleet has 9,200 ships. They will overwhelm Earth through sheer numbers. Send new orders. Show no mercy. Burn their planet. Kill everything that lives there. Leave no survivors." The Council's main fleet received the orders and accelerated toward Earth. They were angry now. The humans had humiliated them. That would not stand. They would crush humanity and prove once and for all that the Council's rule was absolute. But what the Council didn't understand was that humans had been preparing for this moment. The Battle of New Jeju had been a test, a way to see how Council forces fought and reacted. Now Admiral Sang-ho knew their weaknesses. Now humanity knew they could win. Commander Yuna stood on the bridge of her ship, looking at the star map showing the Council fleet's approach. They're coming straight for Earth. They think they can overwhelm us with numbers. Admiral Sang-ho's voice came over the communication link. Let them come. Let them think they have the advantage. When they reach the solar system, we'll be ready. Return to Earth, Commander. The real battle is about to begin. Yuna looked at her crew, seeing determination on every face. They had won the first battle. Now they would defend their home. Set course for Earth. And someone send a message to those Council ships. Tell them that if they turn around now, we'll let them live. But if they continue toward Earth, they won't leave our system alive. The message was sent. The Council fleet ignored it completely. They were going to regret that decision. 3 days before the Council fleet would reach Earth, the solar system prepared for war. Every human military vessel had returned to defend their home. Every orbital platform was armed and ready. Every soldier stood at their post. Knowing that this battle would decide humanity's fate, President Young Jae refused to evacuate. His advisors had begged him to leave Earth to set up a government in exile, but he had refused. If Earth falls, then let the galaxy remember that we fought here, on our home soil, until the very end. The Defense Command Center was deep underground, protected by layers of rock and armor. Admiral Sang-ho stood before a massive holographic display showing the entire solar system. Around him, his top officers monitored every ship, every weapon, every defensive position. Defense Minister Do-hyun approached him. Admiral, the Council fleet will enter the system in approximately 72 hours. 9,200 ships confirmed. They're not trying to hide. They want us to see them coming. Good, Sang-ho said calmly. Let them be confident. Overconfidence makes people careless. He turned to Engineer Hayrin. Status of protocol? Omega? Hayrin smiled. And it was not a kind smile. The asteroid belt is fully weaponized. We've turned 3,000 asteroids into hidden weapons platforms. Mars has 200 orbital defense stations. Luna has 500. Earth's orbital ring has been converted into a fortress. And every single one of our ships has been equipped with the new jump drives. We're as ready as we'll ever be. Commander Yuna was studying the tactical display. They're going to come in hard and fast. They'll try to overwhelm us through sheer numbers. They think if they push hard enough, we'll break. Then we don't meet them head-on, Sang-ho said. We let them come into the system. We draw them deep, make them think they're winning. Then we hit them from every direction at once. The Council fleet entered the solar system exactly on schedule. 9,200 warships, organized in perfect formation. They were the pride of the Galactic Council, vessels that had conquered hundreds of worlds. Leading them was High Admiral Torvak, who had won 50 battles without a single defeat. Torvak looked at the human defensive positions and laughed. 2,000 ships? Against our 9,000? This will be over in hours. All vessels, advance toward Earth. Destroy anything that resists. The human fleet did not immediately engage. They fell back, staying just out of range. This confused some of the Council commanders, but Torvak was pleased. They flee already. Cowards. All ships. Pursue. Do not let them escape. The Council fleet pushed deeper into the solar system, past the orbit of Neptune, past Uranus, past Saturn. The human ships continued to fall back, occasionally firing but never fully engaging. Torvak was certain he had won. The humans were running scared. That was exactly what Admiral Sang-ho wanted him to think. Let them come. Let them get comfortable. Wait until they're committed. The Council fleet reached Mars orbit. Earth was visible now, a blue and white sphere hanging in space. Torvak gave his final orders. All ships, prepare for final assault. We will burn that planet and end this quickly. Admiral Sang-ho looked at his officers. Every one of them was ready. Every one of them knew what was at stake. All units, this is it. For Earth, for humanity, weapons free. The asteroid belt erupted with weapons fire. 3,000 hidden platforms revealed themselves, pouring missiles and energy beams into the Council fleet. The Council ships tried to defend, but the attacks came from every angle. They had been surrounded without even realizing it. Human ships appeared throughout the battlefield, using their jump drives to teleport behind enemy vessels. They would appear, fire everything they had, then jump away before the Council could respond. It was chaos. It was beautiful. Commander Yuna led a strike force of fast attack ships. All fighters. Target their capital ships. Disable their command structure. Make them blind. Fighter pilot Ji-hoon, Ambassador Ji-won's younger brother, led his squadron directly at the Council flagship. His ship was small and fast, loaded with explosives. He had volunteered for this mission, knowing what it would cost. This is for my sister. This is for everyone they killed. His squadron dove at the flagship, dodging defensive fire. 3 of his wingmates were hit and destroyed, but Ji-hoon kept flying. He slammed his ship directly into the flagship's bridge. The explosion was massive, and the flagship went dark. All across the battlefield, similar scenes played out. Human pilots made impossible maneuvers. Human captains took insane risks. Human soldiers fought with a desperation that the Council had never encountered. This wasn't just warfare. This was survival. The battle raged for 31 hours. The space around Earth became a graveyard of shattered ships and burning debris. The moon's surface was scarred by impacts from missed shots. Mars lost 2 of its smaller moons when a Council dreadnought exploded near them. But slowly, surely, the Council fleet was being destroyed. Their numerical advantage meant nothing when they couldn't coordinate. Their advanced technology meant nothing when human ships could appear and disappear at will. Their experience meant nothing when facing an enemy who refused to follow normal tactics. High Admiral Torvak watched his fleet being torn apart and could not understand how this was happening. These were primitives. They should be easy prey. But everywhere he looked, his ships were dying. The humans were everywhere and nowhere. They fought like demons. Retreat, he finally ordered. All ships, withdraw from the system. Retreat. But Admiral Sang-ho had planned for this. Human ships blocked every exit from the solar system. The Council fleet found itself trapped, with enemies in front, behind, and on every side. They tried to fight their way out, but it was hopeless. When the battle finally ended, the destruction was staggering. 6,847 Council ships destroyed, 1,112 captured intact. Only 241 managed to escape. The pride of the Galactic Council had been shattered. The human losses were also heavy. 1,634 ships destroyed, 2,300,000 military personnel dead, 780,000 civilians killed when stray fire hit populated areas. Earth's orbit was filled with debris. Parts of Mars and Luna were heavily damaged, but Earth still stood. Humanity had survived. President Young-jae addressed the planet from the command center. His face was tired, his voice heavy with grief, but his message was clear. We have won. We have paid a terrible price, but we have won. The Council tried to exterminate us. They failed. Now they will learn what it means to threaten humanity. Admiral Sang-ho approached the communication station. He opened a channel to the fleeing Council ships. This message is for Chairman Vortex and the Galactic Council. You came to our home to kill us. You came with your fleets and your weapons and your certainty that you would win. You were wrong. Tell your leaders that this is only the beginning. Tell them that we're coming for them. Tell them that humanity does not forget, and we do not forgive. Tell them to prepare. On Nexus Prime, Chairman Vortex watched the reports coming in with disbelief. Impossible. The Council had lost. The humans had actually won. This changed everything. His fellow Council members were in full panic. Some wanted to sue for peace immediately. Others wanted to conscript every available ship and try again. None of them understood that it was already too late. The war was not over. In fact, it was just beginning. And this time, humanity would not be defending. They would be attacking. The galaxy was about to learn a hard lesson. You do not threaten humanity's existence and expect to walk away unscathed. Commander Yuna stood on the bridge of her damaged ship, looking at Earth through the viewport. It was scarred, but still beautiful. We held them. We actually held them. Admiral Sang-ho's voice came over the communication link. We did more than hold them, Commander. We broke them. Now we make sure they never threaten humanity again. Prepare the fleet. We're taking the war to them. 6 months after the Battle of Sol, the galaxy was in chaos. The Galactic Council, which had ruled for 12,000 years, was falling apart. And humanity was the reason why. Admiral Sang-ho had not waited for Earth to rebuild. 3 weeks after the battle, he launched the human counteroffensive. His orders were clear. Strike at Council military targets, free any species that wanted independence, and make it clear that the age of Council dominance was over. Human fleets appeared at Vrek's industrial worlds. The same species that had executed Ambassador G1 now watched their factories burn. Human ships struck at Krill Collective hive worlds, disrupting their military production. Luminae trade hubs were blockaded until they agreed to negotiations. But humanity was not seeking conquest. Admiral Sang-ho made that clear with every battle. We are not here to replace the Council. We are here to end their tyranny. Any species that wants peace will have peace. Any species that wants to fight will learn what the Council learned. Intelligence Director Sujin had been working tirelessly to exploit divisions within the Council. She broadcast evidence of Council corruption, showing how the powerful species had exploited the weaker ones for millennia. She revealed secret deals and broken promises. She showed the galaxy that the Council's civilized rule was built on oppression. Many Council species began to rebel. 31 species declared independence in the first 3 months. The Council's authority was crumbling. Chairman Vortex tried to hold things together, but it was hopeless. The empire he had ruled was dying. President Young Jae, now leading a galaxy in transition, issued humanity's terms. They were simple and non-negotiable. The Galactic Council will surrender unconditionally. All Council leadership will face trial for crimes against sentient life. All species will have the right to self-determination. Any species that chooses to continue aggression against humanity or our allies will be dealt with decisively. The Council rejected these terms. They still believed they could win. They gathered their remaining forces, approximately 3,000 ships, and prepared for a final defense of Nexus Prime, their capital world. Admiral Sang-ho assembled 800 human ships for the assault. It seemed like too few, but he was confident. Tactical Officer Jin Woo had spent months studying Nexus Prime's defenses. He knew every weapon platform, every shield generator, every possible defensive position. The key is their central command station, Jin Woo explained to the assault team. It coordinates all their defenses. If we can disable it in the first strike, their entire defensive network will fall into chaos. Commander Yuna would be leading the ground assault. She had been promoted after the Battle of Sol, and now she commanded humanity's elite marine forces. My teams will secure the Council chambers. We take them alive if possible. The galaxy needs to see them face justice. The assault on Nexus Prime began at dawn, on a day that would be remembered throughout galactic history. Human ships jumped directly into orbit, bypassing the outer defenses entirely. The Council defenders scrambled to respond, but they were too slow. Engineer Hyrin's latest creation, an electromagnetic pulse weapon, disabled the command station in the first 30 seconds of battle. Suddenly, the defensive network that had protected Nexus Prime for thousands of years went dark. Shield generators failed. Orbital platforms went offline. The capital was defenseless, but Admiral Sang-ho did not order the destruction of the city. Instead, he gave specific targeting orders. Military targets only. Minimize civilian casualties. We are not the Council. We do not murder innocents. The battle for Nexus Prime lasted 18 hours. Human Marines landed throughout the city, securing key locations. Commander Yuna led her team directly to the Council chambers, where the leadership had barricaded themselves. Chairman Vortex tried to rally his guards for a final stand. We are the Galactic Council. We have ruled for 12 millennia. We will not fall to these primitives. Commander Yuna breached the door with a shaped charge. Her Marines poured in, overwhelming the guards quickly and efficiently. She walked up to Chairman Vortex, who was now cowering behind his desk. Chairman Vortex, by the authority of the Free Worlds Alliance, you are under arrest for crimes against sentient life, including the murder of Ambassador G1 and the attempted genocide of humanity. Vortex stared at her in disbelief. You cannot do this. The Council is eternal. We are the law. My inside. We are the law. Not anymore, Yuna said coldly. Now you're just another war criminal. 47 Council members were arrested that day. The galaxy watched as they were transported to Earth in chains. President Youngjae had insisted on this. The trial would be held on Earth, in the same city where the execution had been broadcast. The galaxy needed to see justice done. The trial lasted 3 months. It was broadcast to every known world. President Youngjae personally served as chief prosecutor. He presented evidence of not just humanity's persecution, but of centuries of Council crimes against other species, genocides that had been covered up, species enslaved and exploited, worlds destroyed for the Council's benefit. Chairman Vortex tried to defend his actions. We maintained order. We kept the peace. Without the Council, the galaxy will fall into chaos, Youngjae responded with cold fury. You murdered our ambassador during peace talks. You sent fleets to exterminate our species. You attempted genocide. And you call yourself civilized? You call this order? You are not peacekeepers. You are tyrants who ruled through fear. The evidence was overwhelming. Vortex and 46 other Council members were found guilty. They were sentenced to life imprisonment on Earth, where they would live the rest of their days watching humanity thrive. With the Council dissolved, the galaxy needed a new system of governance. President Youngjae proposed the Free Worlds Alliance. It was simple. Voluntary cooperation. No forced hierarchies. No dominant species. Each world would govern itself but could request help from the Alliance when needed. 31 species joined immediately. Within a year, 74 species had signed the Alliance Charter. The galaxy was healing. Slowly but surely. 10 years after the execution of Ambassador G1, Commander Yuna stood before the memorial that had been built in Geneva. She was President Yuna now, having been elected to lead the Alliance. The memorial was beautiful, carved from white marble and showing the faces of G1, Hyun-Soo, Nari, and Taemin. The inscription read, "They sought peace. They were murdered. Their deaths were not in vain. We ensured the galaxy would never forget." Beside the memorial stood statues of all those who had died in the war. 2,300,000 military personnel. 780,000 civilians. Each name was recorded. Each sacrifice remembered. President Yuna placed flowers at the base of the memorial. She thought about how far humanity had come. They had been targeted for extinction. They had been told they were too dangerous, too aggressive, too young. And they had proven their accusers wrong in the most complete way possible. Humanity had not conquered the galaxy. They had liberated it. Former council species now thrived under self-rule. Trade flourished. Technology advanced. The fear and oppression of the council era was ending. Admiral Sang-ho, now retired, joined her at the memorial. He was an old man now, but his eyes were still sharp. "Do you think we did the right thing?" he asked quietly. "We did what we had to do," Yuna replied. "They tried to kill us. We survived. We made sure no one else would suffer what we suffered." Wah. Destine, engineer Rin, also retired, approached them. She had spent the past decade sharing human technology freely with all Alliance members. Fusion power, jump drives, medical technology, all given freely to anyone who wanted it. "The galaxy is better now than it was under the Council," she said. "We proved that strength doesn't have to mean domination." The three of them stood together, looking at the memorial. They represented different aspects of humanity's nature. Sang-ho, the warrior. Rin, the builder. Yuna, the leader. Together, they had helped transform humanity from victims to guardians. Across the galaxy, former council species told stories about the humans. Some feared them. Some admired them. All respected them. The galaxy had learned an important lesson, written in the wreckage of 9,000 council ships. Humanity could be your greatest ally or your worst enemy. They would help you if you came in peace. They would defend you if you were threatened. But if you attacked them, if you threatened their existence, they would show you no mercy. They would fight with a ferocity that defied understanding. They would never surrender. They would never give up. The Council had thought humans were dangerous because they developed technology too fast. They had been partially right. Humans were dangerous, but not because of their technology. They were dangerous because when faced with extinction, they refused to die. They fought back. They won. In the end, the galaxy was better for it. The Council's tyranny had ended. A new age of cooperation had begun. And at the center of it all was humanity. The species that had been sentenced to death but had instead reshaped the entire galaxy. President Yuna gave her final speech at the memorial dedication. "They thought we were weak. They thought we would beg for mercy. They thought they could eliminate us without consequence. They were wrong about all of it. They learned that humanity, when threatened, becomes something terrifying and unstoppable. They learned we were human, and that made all the difference. The galaxy would never forget. Neither would humanity."